What is up, JL Life? Mo here. So we're finally going to get into doing a proper walk around the nameless J10. So I haven't messed with anything yet with the carburetor. It is running a little rough, which I know I said I want to do the fuel injection system as one of the first mods. It probably won't because it's kind of expensive and there's other more important things that I need to do for the J10. I'm going to tune the carburetor. And again, the guy we bought this from said that the engine had been rebuilt about 10,000 miles ago is what he told me. So the motor in itself is a 360 Chrysler engine out of an old 1979 Wagoneer is what I was told. Of course, I haven't checked that yet. I haven't looked at the serial numbers on the engine, which I need to find. You know, the wiring for the Jeep, for the most part, is actually pretty clean, but I'm sure I'm going to be redoing it. One thing there's a lot of are those twisted connectors all around the Jeep. I'll show you. A lot of twisted connectors around the Jeep, which I'm going to undo and resolder. I'm probably going to end up going with a painless wiring harness for all the electrical at some point. We got a brand new radiator, is what he told me. He ripped out the AC compressor so it doesn't have AC or heat. So the front axle is from a 1974 Chevy pickup, is what he told me. It is a Dana 44, has a high steering kit that was custom made. Those look like they need to be greased. Regular U-joint axle shafts, 488 gears. There's a grizzly locker up front. However, the front is currently disconnected on the drive shaft. And the reason of that is when he swapped out the inline 6 and he put in the 360, the 360 was obviously bigger and it had to be brought more forward. It had to be pushed forward in the engine compartment in order to make it fit. And when he did that, of course, the transmission moved forward and the transfer case moved forward, and the drive shaft just was too long at that point for obvious reasons. But he did have that drive shaft. We will be installing it at some point. It's just not on the priority list. Some unfortunate news. You know, we do have an oil leak coming from somewhere over here. That alternator definitely looks like it's seen better days. So we're leaking here. There's more leaking here. And we got some gashes in the engine mount. Not sure if he told me if the steering box is new. I don't remember. The starter is new. That thing is freaking massive. We'll be doing something for a stronger mounting option for the shocks when I get to that point. As mentioned, he has chopped off the bottom of the fenders. Need a napkin, towel, shop towel. So the tires themselves are 37s. There's decent tread left on them, but as you can see closer, we got sun rot on the tires, which, I mean, they'll work for now. One super awesome thing, we're missing a lug, is that it has locking hubs, which is awesome. Really like the fact that it has front locking hubs. So the frame is actually in superb shape. I mean, there's some hits from rocks, but there's very little rust. You can see a little bit there. Oh, I mean, I need to get under here and clean it better. Another leak we have is right here between the transfer case. It's between the transfer case and the transmission. I'll be honest with you, the fluid looks green. The wind. Yeah, it looks like coolant from the yeah, it looks green. It looks like coolant. So the transfer case is a Dana 20. He told me that the original one was having issues, so he ripped the original one out. He put this one in. I don't know if it works yet because I haven't hooked it up. And of course we got some more leaking here on the back on the transmission. So the exhaust is really simple. We got the exhaust manifold coming, bending the pipe out to a muffler, and of course you're getting all the carbon buildup from that. What I would like to do is eventually try to do something with this to do a side exhaust out the side of the Jeep. I think that would look really cool. All the wiring is pretty squared away. The transmission is a TH200. From what I've been researching online, it's a very unreliable transmission. So more than likely we will be upgrading it at some point. It works for now. The shifts are a little rough, but I mean, it works, it drives. And we got our fuel pump. And there's another one of those twisty guys I was telling you about. A little bit of rust going on there. We can get that easy. Brand new drive shaft. We don't have locking hubs on the back. And you know, broken light fixture there as the bed of the truck has been bobbed, you know, shortening it for better departure angles. There's some additional welding. I'll probably clean these welds up and redo them. But to finish those, the rear bumper is super heavy duty. That thing is solid. It's welded onto the frame. River trash apparently. Comes with the hitch. Here's the other side of the bob. Honestly, what it looks like is that he kind of just got, whoever bobbed it, just kind of got tired of doing the welding and just like, it's good enough, which I totally get. Now, the tailgate, you think it doesn't work, but it do. We just gotta so as you're pulling on the handle, you got to give it some love on the body. And so we're missing the support on this side, which I will add, because what's a pickup without a functioning tailgate or a reliable tailgate, which looks like he was doing that. This guy, maybe not. And that's seems really, that's going to be an easy fix. So the bed, the spare, looks brand new. Of course, you know, there are signs of rot right there. The wheels are steelies. The bed is in actually pretty darn good shape. You know, we got a couple of rust holes going along the support frame, or the support beam, and a couple other holes around it. I'm gonna wash this out. Of course, we got the fuel tank mounted up top. There's our fuel gauge. We got to get out to check it. You can see on this back where the cab, you can see at the front of the bed, there is a bend, and that's more than likely. I'm assuming that's probably a good indicator why the tailgate doesn't open without effort, because it's been warped. And the rear axle is pretty beat up. So there's a giant dent there in the diff. But of course it does run. Here, the rear shock, it's gotten some extreme angles for sure. I'm going to, as you can see there on the shock, it's bent. The angles are pretty extreme. We got a crack in the frame there, passenger side, by the shock mount. And up there, the shock mount is completely torn off. And subsequently, the shock mount is bent to hell down there, so that's unusable. Going to have to redo the mounts, which is probably going to be better because I want better angles on it, I suppose. I don't want it getting, I mean, I'll get to redo them. I'm probably going to redo the rear axle completely. Another thing I did notice when we were driving was this back wheel. It's wobbling like this when you drive. I think that it's going to be a bent axle shaft itself. I need to pull it out and get a closer look so I can get a new one. That's probably going to be one of the more prominent things I do to the J10. Funny story, I was underneath the J10 about a week ago. I was looking over everything. We had just gotten it home like the day before, and I was underneath, just checking things out, giving it a better once over. And pro tip, whenever you are messing around with a vehicle that sits often, you need to watch out for spiders. Because I was under the back, my son comes out, "Dad, don't move, there's a black widow right next to your head." And I rotate my head, and there was a black widow right there.
Hey, there's a huge black widow next to your head.
Hey boy, you're in my yard.
Yeah. I'm leaving.
What are you doing?
Spiders.
Oh, okay.
And I've actually have found several black widows inside of the J10, which one of the things I'm going to be doing today is hosing it down with bug spray so they all die. I really don't want to get bit while I'm working on this guy. I'm going to guess this is why my e-brake ain't working, or at least one of the reasons why my e-brake ain't working. That sucker is bent and warped. Holy cow. Another thing I'm going to need to do are the rocker panels. Again, how he beat this truck, from what everyone who has seen this thing in action has told me he would beat the hell out of this thing, which is awesome. I'm just surprised the only real damage he has to show for are just messed up rockers, which I intend on doing my best to try to fix it, and putting custom rock sliders on this to prevent stuff like that. In occasion, there's some little rock wall dents that you can see around the Jeep. Of course, the gas cap isn't hooked up to nothing because gas can's in there. You got your side bed tie downs. Those are cool. I like them. And looks like some wall scrape here, but not bad, or repaired. We're missing our antenna. The windshield has some cracks in it. You got some cool looking runner lights up top. Really like the look. It's very badass mofo status. So inside the cab, we got blue doors. Custom door handles. That's the door latch release. And those are welded on both sides. I like it. That's probably going to stay. So the panels on the doors, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to reupholster. I might change the color on the inside, but this is the original panel, the blue and the gray. Inside he has put Cherokee seats, bucket Cherokee seats. They're welded in. He has removed the shifter for the 4-wheel drive. I'm assuming he did that when he swapped out the transfer case. One of the things I love about this vehicle, and all vehicles should have this in my opinion, because working on the transmission can be a real pain in the butt. But having a panel like this you can remove, look how easy it's going to be to work on this thing. That is awesome. So the dash is actually in really good shape, kind of dirty, the dash cover on it. We do have a large crack up here. Again, he tore out he basically tore out anything that wasn't necessity. He tore out the radio, he tore out the heater, the AC, and he just kept it basic to what works, which there's nothing wrong with that. So missing the headliner, I don't know if we're going to reupholster this. I was kind of thinking, I think will be a really cool idea is stickers. You know, just stickers. What do you guys think? You guys have stickers you want to attribute to it? Send them. What also came with the truck was the original bucket seat, and it's kind of a mess. It needs to be cleaned up. Misty wants that back in, at least for now. I would love the bucket seats, but wife wants, wife gets, right? So we're missing it's closed on me. So we're missing our window roll-up knob on this side. So a pair of vice grips has filled the gap. Handle release. The seat belts are just lap belts. There's no shoulder harness. And of course, again, the dash is in really good shape. However, I'm toying with the idea of doing a custom one at some point, doing all new gauges and making it look really sharp. Some people, I know a lot of people who restore old vehicles, restore classics, are purists at heart. I'm not. I'm okay with things looking modern. I'm okay with doing different things. And of course, I want gauges that work. So the parking brake does not work correctly, and I'm gonna have to get under there and find out. There's our fuse box, a bunch of the little twisty guys again. Got an oil temperature gauge. And then there's the speedometer. However, it's not accurate. It works, and the needle kind of just bobs around. The lights do still work, which is great. And got more spider webs. Got the Nader sticker. But I believe that's really everything. We really love the color. We want to keep the color. But one thing we are going to have to do is fix the rust holes. I don't want the rust holes to get worse. So I'm not going to be clear coating it yet. Because you know, I need to fix the rust so it doesn't get worse. The body is in great shape. I want to keep it that way. I want this thing being in our life for a long time. We don't have the transmission dipstick. It's right there. Need to get one for that so I can check the fluids in it. Our horns, the horns work. I like it. He did remove the square bezels around the headlights. He says he has them. He's supposed to look for them and try to get them to me later. We got an electric fan. So engine tune-up. Then the next problem I need to solve is going to be the rear passenger tire. Like I said, you know, the tire wobbles. Like the lugs aren't on correctly, but of course they are. So I'm thinking that we have a bent axle flange or bent axle inside, which I just need to pull it out and check that out. Man, I'm rambling a lot. But that's our J10, guys. And of course, as I was underneath in there, I don't know if you guys can see it, there's another black widow egg. So actually, the first thing I'm going to do before I do the oil change and the carburetor tune-up is going to be getting some bug spray and hosing the F out of this. Let it soak. And then I'm going to be getting the power washer and I'm going to wash it all down, clean it out. So it's, I don't want to get bit by Black Widow when I'm trying to wrench on things, and I've already been close. We don't need that to happen again. So here it is, guys, our J10 from 1974. I'm in love. I want to say thank you to the previous owners for taking such good care of it for as much as you beat it. We got so much work to put into this thing. I am so excited for all the time and money and effort that's going to go into this. I hope you guys enjoy the ride. But first things first, as I mentioned, I took a gallon of bug spray and I just hosed every nook and cranny of this guy. I did not want to be putting my hand up to where a Black Widow is and getting bit. I want to have fun with this thing, not be getting rushed to the ER. But after that, I took some engine degreaser and I started hosing everything down that was full of oil and grime. Order to find the engine leaks, and of course it's working on the engine. I want things to be clean, I want things to look sharp, and I want people to see this and just be wowed. I know it's a very long road to get there, but we're going to get there. I thought that it'd probably be a lot better to do this out in the street rather than getting all this grease in the driveway. So, back to it. Probably should have bought a lot more than 2. So after all the bug spray, after all the oil degreaser, got under there with the pressure washer and just started washing out everything. Getting all the bug spray out, filling the street with oil, so I can move to the next point. Oil change. I don't think I've ever done an oil change and not dropped the drain plug into the oil pan. Every freaking time. I have leaks inside of this engine. There's one at the main rear seal, there's one at the front main seal, and possibly with the oil filter housing. But I don't intend on keeping this engine, so I don't want to tear it out and rebuild it from scratch. So I want to go and pick one up from a junkyard and rebuild that, a newer engine, and swap that in. Which engine? I don't know yet. Might be an LS, might be a diesel. I don't know yet. But so what I gotten for the meantime to kind of just help deal with the leaks is Blue Devil sealer, Blue Devil rear seal sealer. It's pretty. I know there's going to be a lot of people saying, "Oh, you shouldn't use that in your engines." Well, this engine needs to be torn apart and rebuilt anyway. It runs great, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I'm going to tear the engine apart and out to replace the seal. You want to bet your butt I'm going to rework the whole darn thing. So, anyways, you just pour it in the whole bottle. Hopefully this cleans it up until I can get it replaced. Alright, so the next thing, I couldn't resist replacing the air filter with a nice purdy one. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the first update to the J10. Make sure to like, comment. If you want to stay tuned to the whole J10 build and other awesome Jeep content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys. Y'all keep it easy. I'm out.